Well, there it is. No big, long, drawn-out introduction. What you are seeing is a 1/14 scale RC, which is radio controlled, Dragline Bucket Excavator that I made. See, people used to know my excavator as the Big Johnson from a show called YouTube Gold that I did. But the Big Johnson got damaged, and this was a huge Lesu model, which was the manufacturer. And I did a whole build series on the original. But it got damaged years ago when I was moving to where I live now. So it sat dormant. And although I had used it on a gold dredge, the tracks hadn't moved in a very long time. And I thought to myself, how can we use the Big Johnson? And I thought, somebody commented in the video section, what happened to the Big Johnson? And I thought, we should make it into a bigger Johnson. Somebody in the comment section had also said, you need a Dragline Bucket Excavator. And I thought, yeah, but I don't know anything about Dragline Bucket Excavators. And so this is a story about how I built a Dragline Bucket Excavator for gold. I obsessively worked for the last 6 days and hand created this entire crane assembly from pieces I had around my shop and my local hardware store. Now there's some familiar equipment in the background, a Volvo rock truck and a 1/14 scale loader, to give you a little size comparison of this excavator. This may be the single greatest thing, in my opinion, that I have ever built. See, this entire boom is 6 feet in length, just the boom itself. The mast is 2.5 feet. There's no hydraulics inside this machine anymore. It's all winches that I made, and everything is cable driven. This is a pulley from a clothesline. You get two. They hold the clotheslines together when you put clothes out on them. I just took them and drilled them out, made some pulleys. These are some 1/2-inch pulleys on some 80 RPM worm-driven brushed motors. There's a transmission in here that the worm gear drives a bunch of gears out to the pulley I put on here. I had to use a bit of rubber on the inside to fill because it's only a 10 millimeter shaft in a 12 millimeter hole. These are the weights from my old crane, if you guys recognize. I fabricated everything that's going on here to hold the weights so they are removable. And it's actually on a brace of an old conveyor system. That was a legging for the conveyor system, but instead I repurposed it, rebuilt it, and made a battery tray. This is a 7000 3S Lipo battery that powers 3 separate ESCs inside and an ESC dual motor controller right here. ESCs are electronic speed controls. Let's think about the motors here for a second. 1, 2, winch right here, 3, winch right here, 4, winch, or pardon me, motor in the middle to spin the whole slew ring. 5, 6, brushless motor right here. 7, brushless motor right there. Speed controller for each, except these I run on a dual winch controller. I have chosen to run a 3S 4000 milliamp battery here just for the tracks alone. Because if you think about this, with no hydraulics at all, it's just the electronic speed controls that are powered right now. There's no servos, there's no hydraulics, no pump running, no sound kit at the moment. See, you need a lot of weight at the back because a dragline excavator, well, I'm going to show you. Look at this bucket right here. This bucket I made is actually a trailer hitch. I wanted to get as many things as I could around here to basically make something that would be really cool, that would have an epic story to it. All the way down to the chain being off of my dog's leash, all the way up to, if you look at the boom, it's an old aluminum 6-foot level. Hard to find. It was a treasure that I found here at the new property. So everything here works on a fulcrum system to basically, there, that's probably ideal so you can see. So both controller sticks here. So basically that scoop on the end is going to work on a fulcrum system. Now the fulcrum itself, if watch, when I push forward, I'm going to drop that hoist down, okay? This works on a series of cables. I can do that, or I can bring it up like this, okay? Now if I go left and right, I dump, you see I bring in this cable winch, I either bring it in flat or I let it out and it will dump the bucket. You see how that goes? So this is for long reach mining, for me to get into the corner of the gold mine in the creek. And then as it has this really sharp turn right here, this is where all the deposits would be.
Yup.
And then right in through here. This is almost like a big Lipo dragline excavator. Both of my tracks are set up on the dual sticks. So here we go. Look how nice and quick this is. Look at that. So with it all on one stick, I can do a combination of actions. If I go to the side and do a diagonal, it lets it out and pulls it in at the same time. Do the opposite corner, it's going to start pulling it in and letting line out at the bottom. If I just want it to dump, I let out more line at the bottom. If I want it to scoop and dig, I start pulling in line from that secondary winch and I drop it down. See, if I would have had this down in the creek and let all that in, and then I start winching in, you see it would start scooping from the bottom. I haven't dug with this yet. You guys are actually basically learning with me at the same time. Look at that, hey? So remarkable. I thought I was never going to use trigonometry. I couldn't even say it. Teachers, when am I going to use that in real life? When you're building a huge dragline bucket excavator. So cool. I know all my RC fanatics will want to see inside and how I did this, and I'm sorry I didn't do a build series with this because I really didn't know what I was doing. This build literally gave me days of headache. Like, I found that I literally had to rest after reading and learning about how to do all this stuff. Like, it was a lot. And basically it was to figure out all this wiring system. Like, I am not a mechanical engineer by any sort. In fact, I don't even have any formal training. It's just all what I've been doing over the years. But look at this, nice and tidy in here. Being able to remove the hydraulics in here gave me a lot of room. So, get everything out of the way. One big, enormous size motor on this size. It has a 10mm output shaft on the transmission here. Same on this side. Both are 12-volt motors. You'll see I just kind of mounted them in on the side. I actually did tack weld them in certain spots just here and on the other side. You'll see it does clear my electronic speed controls. I have one here, and one here. I have one under here also, like I showed, that was controlling this. And then I have two more speed controllers just tucked away that are running the tracks underneath. So another one right here and another one right here. I also have to make sure that they're all programmed properly, the drag brakes are set, the punch throttle rating, all of that stuff is proper and ready to go. And then to make sure to have proper line tensioners everywhere I was going, to make sure that we had proper tension across the board was really important on this. Self-made pulleys, making sure the spacers and the fair leads are leading where they should be, and then of course making sure that the pulleys were able to balance properly with the shovel, or the bucket I should say, was really remarkable. Some of these pieces I've had in my shop for absolute years. This is a great example of one of them right here. So glad to be finally able to put it to use. Right? It's really quite remarkable. Simple, yet very difficult. You would think I've lost a bolt right here. I have not. It's actually clipped off. It won't come off there. And unless I run a die over that and recut that groove, it won't take a nut right now. So I'm waiting for this to either back out a little bit, which it won't, or I just won't ever have a problem there. It'll just do it for me. Look who I have driving on the inside. What's up, rookie? Trusted driver? I love this even more because there's pieces of everything here. And what I mean by that is, look, even this wire loom comes from the old YouTube gold table that was a drain into one of our buckets. So I can close this up. All the wiring is very simple, goes to a 7000, and of course, like I mentioned, this top 4000, very flat pack, 3S Lipo. Simple, goes like this. Dun, 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 dun. Like this. Plugs in here, plugs in there. Plugs in here, and plugs in here. Put on the wire loom. Best part about this whole setup for me is that it's completely waterproof. All my ESCs I put in are waterproof, which means normally you're not able to gold mine in the rain because of the wet sand. Doesn't do well in the trommel, but you can use a sluice box, and if you were able to dig and to dump into a sluice box that was already like a wash bay, pardon me, sorry, I'm just like shocked at what I'm looking at. if you have a sluice box that has the sluicing mats in it and the washing pump, you know, you can wash wet sand through there no problem at all. Guys, insanity. 2 tracks, 1 on either side. I could mix them if I wanted. Look how swift it is, hey? Hopefully that helps you. If you guys were wondering how to make one of these, at least that gives you an up-close look at it. Next, we dig.